Hello, my name is Wildstag and thank you for tuning in to another book rant. Today I'm going to be covering this book, Temper, by Nicky Drayden. I picked this book up at the end of 2022, I want to say, when I was in Denver. I want to say it's the Tattered Cover bookstore, and this book looked very interesting to me. I picked it up off the shelf, read a bit, and I didn't actually read it though until around April of 2023, the first weekend of April, while I was in Albuquerque doing a wilderness first responder recertification course. And I took the time while there. I was at the hotel by myself, and I didn't want to just rely on YouTube or any movies I could access through my laptop or through the hotel's television. I just wanted to relax. I was looking through my phone, and in between looking through my phone, I was reading this book. So this is a science fiction fantasy book, but it's kind of like a apocalyptic book as well. A very thriller, almost into horror, but not really fully stepping into horror. The back cover reads, "Two brothers, 7 vices, 1 demonic possession. Can this relationship survive?" And what's interesting to me about this is that it kind of buries the lead to a degree. In this setting, everyone is born, almost everyone I should say, is born as a twin. And that's because the entities that created their world, or I think it implies the world, but it also at times implies that it's very local and that other regions have different gods and different religions and different creation stories, very similarly to our world. And in the region these people live in, the world was created by 2 incestuous deities that one was all vice and the other was all virtue, and they spend their time, one is destroying, one's creating, basically opposites attract kind of story in the creation myth. And the world, the civilization they live in is a theocracy. The devotion to those 2 gods rules the society because everyone born in that land, like I said, almost everyone, is born a twin. The twins are each born with a mixture of the 7 virtues and vices. And the 2 main characters, Kessim and Aubin, are very unique. Rare is a better word. People born with 6 vices and 6 virtues are incredibly rare. Most people are some mix of 3 and 4, 5 and 2, that sort of thing. If one twin has 5 virtues, the other is going to have 2 virtues. And this is the sort of thing that they struggle with all their lives. People that are dominated by vice tend to be discriminated against to a degree because people want to work with the ones that are virtuous, not the ones that are ruled by their vices. And the more vices someone has, the more they're going to be affected by that. It's very segregated and very unequal, really. It's an interesting setting they made, the author Nicky Drayden. Another aspect of this relationship is every character, it is set in a school setting. All of the classmates are also twins. All of the parents, all of the teachers, they are all twins. And in theory, twins are supposed to be within a certain distance of each other, and virtues can kind of bring fortune and luck to someone, but the further away they are from their twin, the harder it is to benefit from that. And so there is a degree of expecting that people are living close to each other, but really what this means is that the virtuous live in a very wealthy and very affluent and charitable portion of the society, and there's basically a ghetto for everyone who is ruled by vice. Kesem has 6 vices. The only virtue he has is charity. And it's really interesting. I didn't notice this until I opened up the book to really look at it and see, how much I paid for it, what the copyright information is, how the chapters break down. I didn't really think of it at the time, or even just looking back at this book a couple days ago. But in the table of contents, I'll show it to you. There's only 7 chapters. There's a map and then 7 chapters. Each of those chapters is either one of the 6 vices that Kesem has, or the one virtue that he has. The list is he has vainglory, envy, duplicity, doubt, lechery, and temper, which the book is named for. But the virtue he has is charity. He's always trying to help his brother and other people less fortunate than him in general. And less fortunate than him is hard. They have a single mother. They have moved around a lot in their life. She has worked hard to get them into a particular school. And Kesem really kind of squanders that opportunity and those what few blessings and gifts she gives to her kids. But the mom is very absent in their lives, as well as like in the story in general. This book is almost 400 pages long, and in it there are 2 major twists that one felt earned and the other felt unearned, almost like it was, if this was going to be 2 books, the second twist would have been better fit for that second book and built up to more, but the ending really comes crashing all at once. And one of the things that led up to, I guess, both twists is that the mother in the family is not very religious, and one of their duties is to bring their kids up to the chapel, and the chapel will announce the vices and virtues of these kids and will organize it, I guess, on their skin. There's like markings on their skin for each one. What the mother did, as you find out in the book, is that she paid a back alley doctor kind of thing to do that job, and it ended up with one kid has the 6 vices and the other has the 6 virtues. It's kind of hard to explain without spoiling, but that incident, when the boys find out about it, that incident is very important in the story. It appears to be one thing at the start, and then that scene really snowballs into the rest of the story. And I can't explain it more without going into spoilers, except to say that from that moment, one of the big reveals, the twists, feels amazing. Like, aha, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't, having read this book, having all this information, why didn't I think of that outcome from the start? All the hints were there. And the other one, like I said, it felt like it's the climax, the twist to a different book, and there were 2 different stories smashed into one. That second twist is kind of why I'm not the biggest fan of this book. It feels like the editing process just didn't work out the way I thought it should. And not to say that I think I can edit books or anything like that, but the story just doesn't logically flow from one step to the next. And I felt like after that second twist happened, I wasn't reading the book that I had been expecting to read, and it really comes out of nowhere. I have looked through this book again. I don't see any hints leading up to it, and so far I haven't talked about the demonic possession, but one of the characteristics of this book is that kids with 6 vices and virtues are incredibly rare, but Aubin and Kasim aren't unique. They are not the only kids with 6 and 6. And to explain upon what I was mentioning earlier, and I don't think this is really spoilery because it directly involves stuff you learn in the first, really, third of the book, but Kasim encounters a demon, and the demon is whispering in his head. It's possessing him. It's causing harm to others around him. And what actually happens is that it turns out, allegedly, that when Kasim was born, he actually had 7 vices and his brother 7 virtues, which is literally unheard of. It would be akin to like Jesus and the devil being on earth at the same time, an incarnation of both the primordial evil and primordial good. And that's completely unheard of. And so the irreligious mother goes to that back alley doctor and forcibly changes their vices and virtues so that the main character, Kasim, instead of having 7 vices, he has 6 vices. This demonic possession ends up getting several people that Kasim cares about killed or injured, and ostracizing him from basically all of society once they start putting 2 and 2 together. And when the religious leaders figure things out, oh, there's this boy with 6 vices and there's a demonic possession, because you only get the perspective of the one character, you're only getting the whisperings of that demon. But logically, if this is like the incarnation of primordial evil and primordial good, then there should also be like an angelic possession, and that is explored in the story as well. So it is a book. It plays with opposites. It plays with like a one-to-one dynamic of good and evil, creation and destruction, love and hatred, sin and virtue, that sort of thing. It is interesting in that regard, but like I said, there is that one twist that just is jarring, and I don't like it. And for me, this book is something I may pick up and read if I'm really, really bored, but I've got so many books behind me, I'd rather pick up one of those again and reread it. The cover art really showcases those symbols. If you can see it there. Those are the symbols that I mentioned earlier that represent those vices and those virtues. The cover illustration is by Thea Harvey. It's a really, really good illustration. I think it's the sort of artist I hope I see on more covers. So, yeah. Anyway, my name is Wildstag, and thank you for tuning in to another book rant.